Okay, everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino. It is Friday, February 24th, 2023. This, of course, is my pre-market report. It is 5:47 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So here's the situation, people, and you can't make it up if you try to. So this morning, we just got the PCE data, personal consumption expenditures. This is the Federal Reserve's favorite inflation gauge, or how they like to measure it. Okay, well, it came in, of course, worse, much worse than expected, meaning, well, let's all laugh here. Inflation continues to rise at an astonishing pace. Now, here's the twist to it. Janet Yellen, now I want to know where the accountability here is. She came out here explaining that inflation is actually coming down. This is what they always do. They float out some part of the freak show, for which Janet Yellen clearly is, to try to convince you that not only what you're seeing is not real, but the data itself obviously is not real either. The data that we've been getting as of late repeatedly is inflation continues to rise. As a matter of fact, what did Bullard say just recently? Just a couple days ago, Fed President Bullard, he said inflation is rising at a faster pace than he and his freaks over at the Federal Reserve believed that it would, which is a complete lie. You see, those people over there, they're laughing. They're laughing at you and they're laughing at me. However, you and I have been deadly clear on the fact that inflation is continuing to rise and it's got nowhere to go but much higher. But again, what are they going to do? They're going to try to convince you that, well, I guess what you're seeing with your own eyes, and again, the data itself is just not real. You can't make it up. You can't make this stuff up if you try to. It's impossible. So on the back of this, there's a couple of other very important things we need to keep our eyes on. The MMRI right now, as I am doing this video blog, is 257.2. Stock futures are set to, let's just say this. The stock market is set to drop substantially right at the open, like a 300-point drop in the Dow. What we are witnessing, people, is again, clearly, and it's in our face, instability in the debt market. And I believe the market is starting to see this for itself here. What does that mean for you and me? What have I been saying over the past week? We need to lessen our exposure to the long end of this market here. Again, it may be time to think about closing long positions here. Or if you are someone like me, for example, that's in like an asset like JEPI for the long run, I'm talking about, decades here. Look for opportunities to add to that position here, because it looks to me like this market could fall a lot more from where we are. Now, I'm not calling for a crash here, people. I'm just telling you that there is instability in the debt market. If, in fact, we start to see MMRI 260, 270, 280, 300, this market is going to hate it. I mean, look what it's doing right now. You and I, look, do you want to know how far ahead of the curve we have been? For how many months did we speak about right here on this blog that 250 with regard to the MMRI was the first line in the sand? We hit it. We broke over it. This market has gotten slammed. Yesterday was the first day in 5 that the S&P 500 finished in the green. And that was an amazing phenomenon we witnessed yesterday. Some big entity out here, I'm going to give you one guess who it is, got in here and started buying a lot of debt. We watched the 10-year yield drop. We watched the MMRI drop. And all of a sudden, large cap stocks started getting bought up. I mean, this is exactly what the Fed does, the plunge protection team, which is a real thing. Look it up for yourself. Don't take Greg Mannarino's word for it. Just open up a search engine. Is the plunge protection team real? Yes, they are real. This is how the Federal Reserve tries to stabilize the market, okay? But the fact of the matter is, this is big. The debt market on a global level is too big for any one or even every single, I think, central bank collectively to stabilize here. This is why at one point this whole thing is going to come apart, and it's going to come apart really, really fast. So keep your eyes on the MMRI. Or if you don't like to look at the MMRI, watch the 10-year yield. Watch the relative strength of the dollar, for which the relative strength of the dollar is substantially higher this morning, up by 0.45%. And as I said, the 10-year yield is higher, all reflected in a nice package of the MMRI, which is 257.2. Let's see what they pull off today. As I said, this PCE number today, this big inflation gauge, like, look, you and I already knew this, but it just seems like people are oblivious to the situation that inflation has nowhere to go but higher. And I mean much higher, much, much higher. So, I mean, turn on Bloomberg, turn on Fox Business, turn on any of these mainstream propaganda ministry outlets, and they're going to be shocked. What? Really? Inflation continues to rise, but I don't understand. How can this possibly be happening when the Fed has been raising rates and raising rates and raising rates, and central banks are doing the same damn thing, but inflation continues to rise, and then they float out the freak show like Yellenstein. Oh, no. Inflation. No, let's get the face right. This is Yellen. Inflation is coming down, despite the fact that all the data says it's going higher, despite the fact that you are personally paying more for everything. Oh no, it's coming down, believe me, because I know what I'm talking about. Again, she's being paid to lie to you. Where's the accountability? It's nowhere, because you and I have no representation at all. We need a freaking revolution, people. We need a revolution, and we're not going to get one. Anyway, so on the back of this PCE thing here and Yellenstein, the market, as I said, is set to drop at the open. If the MMRI does not drop during the day, you can expect stocks to get hit a lot harder. Doesn't this make sense to you? I hope it does make sense to you, people. Hold on a minute. Itchy nose. Sorry about that. Took my dogs out for a walk this morning. Whenever I go outside, I get just a massive allergy attack. I have really, really bad allergies. I've always had them. What else can we say, people? Look, so we know again what we're doing, why we're doing it. Are you going to deviate from our plan here, which is to bet against the debt, become our own central bank? You do realize that the way things are right now, the global economy cratering at its fastest pace in history, inflation continuing to rise with no end in sight. What did we find out yesterday? Real wages, that is what people are earning based against rising inflation, is in the literal sense plummeting, falling off of a cliff. I mean, this whole setup here is exactly what you and I have discussed repeatedly here on this blog for I don't know how many years. The middle class is under attack. If you are a member of the middle class, you have a tattoo on your face. It's a target. You are being targeted and you're being eliminated. Understand, we're going back into a feudal system. Extreme haves, extreme have-nots, as central banks solidify their position of power on the world stage. Central banks today are at the pinnacle of their power, and they're going to again solidify that situation here by continuing to inflate, by continuing to expand the debt, by continuing to twist people's minds via the mainstream media, which they control. The Federal Reserve and central banks control the flow of information. And they do this, again, via the mainstream propaganda ministry with people like the Stain herself, Yellenstein, coming out here trying to convince you. This is what they always do. Trying to convince you that what you are seeing and even hearing the data is not real. She's trying to dictate your life to you. Oh, inflation is coming down. It is not coming down in any way, shape, or form. And if you think it is, well, I don't know what kind of delusion you're in here, okay? It's just not going to happen. And mark my words here as well. Energy, crude oil, all this stuff, much, much higher moving forward. It doesn't matter, okay, what the relative strength of the dollar is doing. Commodities are priced in dollars. Can I get a duh, please? We all know this already. Okay. With that said, you can expect the absolute strength of the dollar to continue to just evaporate. Henceforth, why you got things like the PCE data today explain that inflation continues to rise faster than the Fed predicted it would. You see, because you and I obviously, look, the Federal Reserve, they all know what they're doing. This is by design. How is it possible that you and I realized from I don't know how long ago, number one, that by the Fed raising rates, it would do nothing to stop inflation? You remember that? Go back to my old videos. We were laughing right here, laughing. They said, there's no way this is going to work. It's not even meant to work. You see, that's the lie being sold to people. By central banks raising rates, it's going to, a miracle is eventually going to occur. It's going to be a miraculous event. And then inflation is going to start coming down. No, it's not even meant to do that. All it's meant to do is kill the economy by crushing demand. And then again, by some miracle of events, eventually inflation is going to come down. Not true. Okay, what they could do is contract the money supply. You all know this. Is there any talk? Have you heard one word at all ever? And I want to hear from you. Here's the question of the morning. Have you heard from a single mainstream media outlet how the Federal Reserve has the power to contract the money supply by telling the financial institutions to raise their capital reserve requirements? Have you ever heard this before? I bet you haven't. And if you're brand new here, congratulations. You just got a big piece of information here. That's how central banks could stop inflation in its tracks today. Won't happen because it would prevent them from inflating. You understand? So it's part of the deception that's being sold to the people of the world. The absence of this information, people, again, it's all controlled. The mainstream media, they can't tell you these things because, again, they're being told what to say to you. Okay? You'll never hear this. So inflation will continue to rise. The middle class is going to continue to suffer here. And who knows? We may be at that moment where this market's going to start coming apart. Because again, if risk continues to rise in this market, and you can see this in real time by looking at the MMRI, again, free to you, free to everybody, link in the description of this video. We don't have to guess, people. We don't have to guess it. What's going to happen? Who else out here? Pick one other guy on YouTube who said there was a red line in the sand with regard to risk in this market at 250, and we watched this market drop. 5 days. We had 1 day positive and 5, and now this morning, right at the open, we're about to drop again. Do you think that you and I really pulled this out of a hat? No, we knew it was going to happen before time. Who else called that? Probably one of the best freaking calls that we've ever done together, because this isn't just Greg Mannarino's thing. This is our thing, okay? And I can promise you, if this instability in the debt market really gets out of hand, wow, I think we're all well aware of where this is going to go. People, look, I think I've covered a lot with you today. I would appreciate if you would share this video, get it out there. If you heard anything here you think is interesting, a thumbs up would always be appreciated. This guy here loves you a lot, and I mean that. We are a team. We are a family. We are the freaking resistance, and we need a revolution. We need a revolution, people. Are we going to get one? No. The people have been dumbed down and lulled into some state of, I guess, learned helplessness or something. They feel like they are powerless. And again, I can't blame people because we have no representation in this country. None. Zero. Your votes don't matter. You are not represented by anyone in Congress. It's just you and me. That's who we got here. We got each other. And that's, I think, hopefully enough, at least to get us through what's coming here. I will see all of you post-market live. People, listen to what I'm telling you. 1:05 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. People seem to continually get confused about this, okay? That's when you will see me live. And I want you to have questions for me, all right? Think about what you want to ask me, and it could be anything you want. It doesn't even have to be market related. It could be about anything, all right? Like I said, we're a family. We got to come together on all this, and I think that's our biggest strength, all right? Love all of you. See you later. I'm out of here.